Hi, this is Malini. Today I'm going to show you how to make simple succulent glass terrariums or succulent terrariums. These are glass containers that I got from the store, and a few of these have sayings on them like happy birthday or happy B-day, and this says celebrate. So you can elevate these simple glass containers by adding succulents. Now I'm going to show you a succulent terrarium that I did earlier, which shows you the layers that I would recommend putting on if you wanted to make it last longer. First, you would add, as you see, the bottom layer is a very thin layer of pumice. Then you add a succulent mix, which looks like this, and that helps succulents thrive and last longer. It doesn't have any peat moss. Peat moss is too acidic. And it retains too much moisture for succulents, so we don't recommend having any peat moss in succulents. So we add a little thin layer, as you see here, above the pumice, and then just really pretty decorative rock, and then your succulents. Now that's one option that you can do for making a succulent terrarium. But if you want to make simple terrariums without the pumice or the soil and have a nice clean look, just know that it's not going to last as long because it doesn't have that layer of pumice to prevent root rot, and it doesn't have the soil. But this is a simple way to make a succulent terrarium just using what you have at home. For example, just rocks and succulent cuttings or rooted cuttings, and it will still last probably for a few months as long as you don't overwater it, and you can still give it as a nice gift or put it in your home. So let me show you what I did first. I made cuttings from my garden, and you want to wait for it to dry. Now this was, since it's so hot during the summer, it's already dry already. It just lasts for a few hours outside, and you can see that callus already developing. It's dry, it's not wet at all. So you want to wait for that process to complete, for the raw ends to dry before you plant it or insert it into the rocks or the soil. So these are just some of the cuttings. These are easier to work with than let's say something like this. This is a rooted succulent, and these are a little bit harder to work with, and it might be a little bit more messy. So I would recommend using cuttings if possible. So there's a lot of pretty different kind of rocks that I found. You can find these at the dollar store, at your garden center, and you can really dress up your terrariums or glass containers with any kind of color rock that you prefer. So let's use for the celebrate this really pretty container that you can give really for any occasion, a birthday, anniversary, a graduation gift. So let's cut this, and then just show you what I can do to make a little terrarium. So you just add a thin layer just on the bottom there. Just put a little bit first, just to gauge it. Now really, any of these really pretty cuttings would work. Let's just try and see how that looks. You could put one or two, you can even make a little arrangement. Now obviously I need a little bit more rock. Again, this is, see how clean that is without any pumice or soil. But again, remember that won't last as long. It's just a nice little gift to give, and still look really pretty and nice. So you can just add, like, see how you can just add one little cutting there, or you can even make a little arrangement. You can sort of play around with it. Just gonna add a little more cuttings here, and this is just these are really you can get from your yard. You can buy it at the nursery. This is a really pretty jade plant, and these are usually really easy to plant in soil or with other succulents. Just sort of play around with it, work with it, and it will look really nice however you design it. If you feel like you need a little more rock to kind of cover any empty spots, go ahead and do that. Very simple. This is something even your kids can help you with have fun as a hobby, especially if you're home a lot. This is a great little hobby to start. Okay, so this is one little cute little very simple terrarium or simple glass container. Again, you can use any kind of succulents that you have at home, or even cactus. So let's try another one. I'm going to use a jade. This is called jade rock. See how pretty that looks already, just with the simple adding just the rocks in the bottom. If you have air plants or tillandsias, which don't need any soil, you can simply place the tillandsia right on top. Don't plant it, because tillandsias don't need any soil. If you have that, you can simply put the tillandsia in there, or you can put, again, like a cutting I have already ready to go, and see how simple and pretty that looks, and very easy to do. Okay, now the last one we're going to do is the Happy Bee Day glass container. And this one you can have fun with. You can experiment with different kinds of color rocks, or you can use a very simple traditional one that I have here. This is called Coral Sea. And see how that makes a nice, elegant, but still very kind of natural look. Just using the Coral Sea, it really changes the look of whatever kind of top dressing you have. Now, I can simply add these, or I can show you how to put, if I took one of these, this is Haworthia. This is a rooted one, okay? Let me show you the rooted one. You just simply remove this very carefully. Now this one actually is planted all in pumice, which is fine too. You can actually plant. Succulents will still, as you can see here, lots of roots, will still do really well in just pumice. Okay, now see all those roots here. I'm not going to remove them. I'm just kind of like make them sort of fit in here. There's plenty of roots actually for this to grow. But you can see that you'll have to add more rock to cover all those roots. And just kind of carefully put rocks around it. I'm a little messy here, but as you know, when you're planting or doing gardening, it can get a little messy, but it's still very rewarding and very fun to do. It's very relaxing. And just kind of add more rocks around it. I'm also going to show you how to clean up some of these succulents as you're putting the rocks in there. Sometimes it helps you have a little funnel, which I don't have, but I'm using whatever I have at home, and that will work fine too. You could take a simple brush and kind of brush out all those little rocks that get stuck in between the leaves here. Let me just clean up a little bit here. I'm going to show you the finished work and how to care for some of these really pretty succulents. So for any terrariums or succulent containers that don't have a drainage hole, you can put them indoors near a bright, well-ventilated window, and water about once or twice a month. And if you prefer, you can also keep it outside in a covered patio where it gets bright light. And again, you want to water, be careful about the watering. You want to water maybe once every 14 days, not to overwater it. I would recommend watering around the plant take a little water or a little medicine dropper or something very small and water around it if you can. But it's okay to get water inside, but just try to water around as much as possible. And you have a really beautiful gifts to give to family and friends, or to decorate your home. Thank you for watching.